Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now today is a super exciting day because Huawei's super flagship is back, and this time round it has been rebranded from the Huawei P series to the Huawei Pura series. So what we have here is the Huawei Pura 70 series, and here for the Malaysian market we're going to be getting 3 variants. We have the standard Huawei Pura 70, we have the 70 Pro, as well as the 70 Ultra. So in today's video, we'll be going over what's new with the Pura 70 series, as well as find out which one is the right one for you. With that said, let's begin. Now first things first, in terms of design, it is sort of like an evolution from the Huawei P60 series. So the Huawei Pura 70 series all carry the same forward symbol design language, and when holding these devices in hand, they do remind me of the Huawei P60 Pro, which I still have from last year. Now one thing's for sure, they all do feel very premium. Now starting with the Huawei Pura 70 is the only one that comes in a boxy design, which I personally like a lot. The back, the frame and the displays are all flat, and moving on to the Pro and Ultra, they both share more in terms of their form factor. They're definitely more curvy across the front, back as well as the frame, and this makes it very comfortable to hold in your palm. Now the Ultra takes things one step further by using a vegan leather back panel with an embossed texture, and this definitely makes it stand out a little more. Now personally, if you ask me, I do find that the Pura 70, the base version as well as the Pro, looks a bit more minimalist and clean, which is what I really like a lot. However, the 70 Ultra actually gives it a more premium look, and it makes it stand out a little bit more from the other crowd. Now with that said, let's move on to the second part of today's video, and that's actually in terms of the camera. Now, this is a very technical part, and we're going to go through over a couple of new breakthroughs that Huawei have had with the cameras itself. Now the P series has always been where Huawei puts on their best camera on their smartphones, and this time round is no different, and there's actually quite a lot of cool breakthrough tech in terms of the camera department. Now before we go into the cool new tech, let me quickly show you the specs of each variant because they're slightly different. Feel free to pause your screens to take a quick look at the specs and see which one has what kind of sensor. Alright, so with that done, let's talk a bit about my top 5 favorite camera features on the Huawei Pura 70 series. Now the first one is actually called the Ultra Lighting Pop-Out Camera and Retractable Camera Structure, and this is actually available on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, which actually uses a 1-inch sensor, and typically on other smartphones they do come with huge camera bumps, but this is what Huawei is trying not to do. Now with the new mechanism, the camera lens can actually pop in and out whenever you need to use the camera. It comes out really quickly and goes back in once you close the camera app. There's even a mechanical sound effect to give you some feedback so you know the camera is activated, and this is sort of a first in the industry, and it does help to save the Pura 70 Ultra from having a massive camera bump on the back. Now moving on to the second cool camera tech, and that's actually in terms of the Ultra Speed Snapshot, which just like the name suggests, allows all variants of the Pura 70 series to shoot really quickly while retaining a ton of detail. Now I was just out the other day sitting on a bus, and I decided to try this feature out, and guess what? Even while sitting in a moving bus and taking photos of cars that were passing by, the shots that I managed to capture actually made the cars look as if they were stationary. Now those of you who like to capture fast moving subjects like sports activities will definitely appreciate this feature. Now moving on to the third cool camera tech. Now this is actually called the Ultra Lighting Super Macro, and it's actually available on the Pura 70 Pro and Ultra. Now this basically gives you a microscope in your pocket, because with this feature you can actually zoom in very closely into all kinds of subjects to explore a different angle of photography. Now what you can do is actually take pictures of insects, food, fabric, or your school science project, and it's definitely a fun feature to have in your phones. Now moving on to the fourth, you will definitely be very happy to find out that the Huawei Pura 70 series across all variants have actually improved in terms of their true-to-life portraits. Now this means that your portraits will now look even better and more realistic than before. The skin tones as well as subject separation has also been enhanced, and this feature will also work very well in low light conditions. Now just in case you want to have some fun, you can also use the monochrome portrait feature to add a different vibe to your photo. Now moving on to the final cool camera tech here guys, and it's actually called the Ultra Lighting Macro Tele Camera, which you can find across all models of the Pura 70 series, and this actually allows you to zoom in even better in low light conditions. Now just on the day-to-day, I was actually traveling a couple of days back with my Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, and I captured a couple of photos that I want to share with you very quickly. Now what I noticed here was the lack of over-processing in my pictures, which you find in a lot of other smartphones. Now I actually found the photos very similar to that of an actual camera, and this is very different from the Huawei P series from before. So again, very impressive start to my testing of the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. Now with that said, let's move on and talk about the displays, and not just in terms of the display, but really about the durability. So you guys might remember that the Huawei actually came out with that Kunlun glass. So this time around, it's the Kunlun glass 2nd gen, and apparently it's up to 20 times stronger and more durable. So I think a drop test is in place. Let's start off with the base version, the Pura 70. Let's do a quick one. Yep, everything still looks fine. Now let's move on and check out the 70 Pro, and check that out. still intact, no scratches, no cracks whatsoever. Now if you move on to the Pura 70 Ultra, now this guy comes with an even stronger glass. What we have here is actually the crystal armor Kunlun glass. Let's go. And ta-da guys, everything is fine. So that's just the Kunlun glass 2nd gen as well as the crystal armor Kunlun glass. Now in terms of the resolution, there's also been a bit of an upgrade here. So what you can see on all the Pura 70 series is they do feature Huawei's brand new X-True display, and images and videos will all look super high-res on all these devices. Now let's move on and talk a bit about the battery as well as the charging process on the Huawei Pura 70 series. What you can expect here is even better battery life. Huawei is even putting in even faster charging, both in terms of their wired and wireless charging. They are one of the fastest, and the cool thing here is that they have also improved the reverse wireless charging as well as reverse wired charging. So these guys here, they're all basically like power banks which you can bring along with you. If your friend's phone run out of juice, you can choose to help them by reverse wireless charging their phones or reverse wired charging their phones. Quite nice. Now let's move on to the next point here, and that's actually in terms of their processors. Now again, there's going to be a bit of a difference here in terms of the processors. Now the Huawei Pura 70 Pro and Pura 70 Ultra actually uses the Kirin 9010 octa-core processor, whereas the Huawei Pura 70 uses the Kirin 9000S octa-core processor. Now just in terms of performance, again, this is not a full review, but what I noticed during my short period of use is that everything actually launched very quickly. There's no lags here and there. Everything has been optimized really well in terms of the devices, so you actually have a very smooth operating and user experience on these devices. Now, a couple of cool tricks that Huawei has actually put into these phones here is that they've made a couple of gestures. These days, we are using QR codes to scan for payments or whatever. And right now, the phone itself can actually detect the QR code whenever you just point the phone's camera to the code itself. So what you'll do is, let's say you want to scan to pay, you just double tap at the back here, and the phone itself will scan the QR code and jump into whatever it is right away. Now let's move on to our final part of today's video, and that's actually about the app gallery. Now I know a lot of people always tend to ask me the same question, which is whether you can install Google applications, whether you can install your apps on any Huawei device. Again, this is actually a very simple process, and right now the app gallery has been enhanced even further to make downloading your favorite apps even easier. So say for example, if you're looking for your typical apps, your Maybank, your WhatsApp, Instagram, you can all find them directly in the app gallery. If you're also looking for Google native apps like your Google Chrome, a Gboard, which is what I use a lot, your Gmail, everything related to Google, you can actually directly get it from the app gallery. And say for example, if you cannot find the app that you want, you can actually go and search for Google Play in the phone itself through the app gallery and actually download that. Now once you download that, you'll be brought to something similar to the Google Play Store, where you can actually search for all the other kind of apps that's available in the Google Play Store. Alright, so just in case you want to check the status of your phone's security, you can also do a quick scan in the app gallery to check its status. Alright, so there you have it. That's a quick look at all the Huawei Pura 70 series. Now just to sum up really quickly, like which device I think is suitable for who, I would say that if your budget is a little bit tighter but you still want to experience the Huawei Pura 70 series, you should start off with the Pura 70, the base model. Now I really like the flat sides all around. It still feels super premium. You have the X-Mage camera system at the back, great fantastic display at the front, it's flat. So if you're all about that flat form factor, you should check out the Pura 70. Now if you want to get more closer to the flagship level kind of stuff, you can actually get the Huawei Pura 70 Pro. If you want to get a slightly improved camera, if you want to experience those curved kind of display at the front as well, so that's where you go for the Pura 70 Pro. And last but not least, if you want to go for the top of the line, the best of the best, if you're just the kind of person who goes for the best one, then you should check out the Pura 70 Ultra. It does come with this really interesting back panel over here with those embossed textures. You also have the curved display, the 1-inch sensor at the back there, which you can retract and all that. So a lot of cool tech going on with the latest Pura 70 Ultra. Anyways, just like usual, Huawei will also be giving away of cool freebies. So the freebies is worth up to 2,376 ringgit. Very specific. You're getting a couple of cool stuff which I'll put down in the description box below. Anyways, that's all that you need to know. If you have any further questions, feel free to comment down below as well. Again, thank you so much for watching today's video all the way till the end. Appreciate you guys here. Don't forget to drop a like and sub to the channel if you want to see more content, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Do take care and stay safe. Bye bye.